You are listening to Theoretical Insights of D&D.
Lord, give me a fireball!
Screw how hot your skin is, my bars are hotter. Let me tell you what this is. Let me tell you, you listeners, if you don't know what the zombie has packing in his decaying flesh, you shut up, cancer bones. You gonna be a zombie if that cancer doesn't get cured.
Hey guys, I'm Rob.
And I'm Eric.
And welcome back to another episode of Theoretical Insights of D&D. And today we are covering our top 12 monsters/creatures for CR14. And guess what? Just like every other one, we have a new and improved
Kinda.
celebrity list. Well, I mean, look, it's taking us longer and longer to come up with a celebrity list. So
This is 140 quote unquote celebrities we've had on this list now.
yeah, we're running out of people because there's not really that many people that we truly dislike or think that a majority of people dislike. But for our number one this week, though, due to some recent speculations, as apparently
And
Cat
him
Cat
running off to South America.
Yeah, and apparently Cat Williams in that interview saying that 2024 was going to be the year of truth. We're starting off with P. Diddy.
Yeah.
If
The
you-
accused diddler himself.
Yeah, he's accused right now, and for that accusation, we are ranking him at number one because you are technically innocent until proven guilty, but we see how stuff like this usually plays out. So, our number two is Senator Joseph R. McCarthy. If you are not familiar with Senator Joseph R. McCarthy, you may have covered him in your history class back in high school, or you may be covering him now, depending on where you are in your life travels. He is the leader of the Red Scare that took place in the United States during the 1950s, where people were fired from their jobs and outcast and put into pretty much a cardboard box
Mhm.
because they were accused of being communists, whether it was true or not. And he headed up the charge on that. He was the senator of, I can't remember what state. Let me pull that up real quick.
Yeah, the 40s, 50s, and 60s were a strange time.
Senator McCarthy was the U.S. Senator of Wisconsin.
Huh.
And
Only good thing coming out of there was cheese.
no worries, Kevin McCarthy is not related to Joseph McCarthy. I don't know who that is, though. shows how much I know about relevant and like happening now stuff.
Listen, we're just two rednecks talking about D&D.
I mean, you ain't wrong. But yeah, Senator Joseph R. McCarthy headed up a movement in the United States that cost a ton of people their jobs, and it helped cost one of the greatest minds his security clearance, in which costing him his job. And that was thanks to the efforts of the next man on our list, Louis Strauss. Now, if you don't know who Louis Strauss is, I highly recommend that you watch the new movie Oppenheimer. It's 3 hours. It is kind of slow at points, but it is a very interesting movie. It is speaking about the men who came together at Los Alamos in New Mexico to build the atomic bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And we can feel whichever way we want about that because, hindsight is 2020, whether they should have been dropped or not. However, it was a massive leap in the scientific discovery world when they realized they can split an atom and then turn it into a bomb. And the fact that they were in a race against both Russia and Germany to get it produced.
And Britain.
Yeah. But pretty much, Louis Strauss was the man that after the invention and creation of the atomic bomb, when the U.S. military stepped in and said, okay, Dr. Oppenheimer, your baby is now our baby. We're not going to tell you a daggum thing about it, except for the general being like, okay, yeah, they did drop them. We're not going to tell
Yeah.
you the outcome, though.
They dropped it. It worked. That's it.
Louis Strauss pretty much painted Oppenheimer as a genocidal maniac who, because he had some affiliation with the, what was it? I think it was called the Free Communist Party back in the 40s, the 30s and early 40s, because he had some interactions with them and had sent some money to the rebels, or not the rebels, but the revolutionists in Spain while they were going through some stuff. More so along the lines of making sure there was money there for people to get like clothes and food.
Yeah, wasn't that during the Spanish Civil War or whatever,
Yes,
where Germany stepped in?
yes, I believe so. He used a communist network to send those monies to said refugees and possible rebels, whichever group it was, because as he stated, I mean, those people need help, so I'm going to
Yeah,
help them. And because of that, because he had some ties to a communist party, Louis Strauss targeted him in front of the U.S. Senate and the cabinet of senators, and pretty much set him up on a mock trial that wasn't supposed to be a trial with, gosh, what was his name? Um,
type it. Come on, quick fingers.
I'm working on it.
It ain't quick math right now. It's quick fingers.
That's not General Leslie Groves. Who's the guy that cost him everything? There was a. Let me just do this. This is going to be the easiest way. Oppenheimer 2023 film. Who's the cast? I don't know. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen the movie, guess what? Gary Oldman is playing the president. So we are looking at Roger Robb. Roger Robb is the one that was doing the interviewing of Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer, who eventually led to his demise because that Senate that hearing in the closed room found him innocent of any kind of possible charges for the future, but because of his former ties to the Communist Party, decided to not renew his security clearance, and therefore he lost pretty much everything. However, I think he did find another form of income elsewhere. So
I'm sure it probably wasn't. I mean, it would have been difficult back in that time with the whole fight against communism, but I'm sure he still found something.
yeah, I'm sure he was blacklisted there for a little while. But here's the other thing. Buddy, we're going to have to start a podcast on like just historical stuff because we talk about so much to begin with. We just need to start a history. This announcing now very soon because we are starting to cover new things like Daggerheart, and we're kind of moving away from the Hasbro part of Dungeons and Dragons, and we're moving into some Cobalt Press and Grim. What was it?
Grim Hollow.
Grimfire. Well, Grim
Grim
Hollow,
Hollow.
Ghostfire Games.
Yeah,
Ghostfire
Games.
Games. Along with covering some other TTRPGs. Before too long, you will probably hear that we are rebranding as Theoretical Insights. And we're going to talk about whatever the heck we want to.
Oh,
And we'll
there's
have
a lot of games we could talk about.
And we could have Theoretical Insights of D&D, Theoretical Insights of Pathfinder, just multiple shows. Once we get the people to help us run the dang thing. Because that's a lot.
This is never going to end, is it?
No, it's never going to end. It's either it's either never going to end or it's going to become so much to where we get on here and be like, look, we quit everything except for TID&D or one of the other shows.
I mean, I've got ideas that we would have to discuss later about all that.
Yeah. Sounds like another business meeting. But
Yay.
at number 4, we have the vegan teacher because I'm sick of her showing up on my freaking TikTok.
One thing I have against her, not because she's a vegan. I
No,
don't
it
care.
doesn't matter that she's
Her
a
doing it.
vegan.
She's attacking Call Me Chris here recently, like
Yes.
hardcore. She is one of my favorite TikTokers. Most of her stuff is funny, and her and Oompaville on YouTube are dating, and he's one of my favorite YouTubers.
That's a heck of a reason.
But I mean,
Like
she's attacked him too.
She dates Oompaville, so how dare she?
Well, I mean, vegan teacher attacks both
Hey,
of them.
look, I tell you what though, if Queso ever announces that he's got a girlfriend, I will defend her with my life. I love Queso to death, dude. Queso's hilarious.
I've
And the
started
vegan
seeing more
teacher is
him on
not.
TikTok.
The vegan teacher, sometimes I wish that she would just make a video about how she likes to be vegan, give some recipes, give a lifestyle, be like, hey, this is how you plant a garden, and then shut up about everything else.
Just don't attack people. Simple.
Yeah, that's all it takes. At number 5, our midway point, we have Shemp Howard, and hopefully you know who that is, but in case you don't, he is one of the members of the Three Stooges, brother of Curly and Moe, who unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, Shemp died before Curly, after Curly had the stroke, because the whole reason that Shemp stepped in is because Curly had a stroke and was unable to perform for a certain amount of time. So Shemp stepped in and started acting with the Three Stooges. Then Shemp, I don't know what happened. I saw a documentary where he was doing a boxing scene and he started bleeding out of the nose, and then something went wrong and he died. And then not long after him, Curly died. And so they took
cause of death real quick.
They took a hiatus for a while, and then that's when Curly Joe stepped in.
He died of a massive heart attack.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, just about all of them died of either a heart attack or a stroke.
Well, I mean, they was all of them drunk. All of them smoked cigars.
Heavily.
So I mean, it wasn't.
It was the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Let's be honest. That's just kind of what you did.
That's common.
It's a different time
back then.
But for the years of entertainment and the golden era of slapstick comedy, Mr. Howard, you have earned the number 5 spot on our list. Speaking of slapstick comedy, who's on first? What's on second? And I don't know's on third. That's right. Number 6 is Abbott and Costello for one of the greatest bits I have ever seen in my life.
That is like the longest running bit in history.
Oh, it's great, dude. That and the math bit where he's arguing with his landlord over rent.
Yeah.
Dude.
I think the Three Stooges did that one too.
Dude, Abbott and Costello, their movies are hilarious. The Three Stooges movies are great, but their regular slapstick specials were better. The only problem I have with the Three Stooges specifically is that after a while it gets old. They have certain episodes are golden and some are just unbearable. But that's slapstick, you know. Abbott and Costello, I have not seen anything from them that I haven't liked. Like they are just good.
Yeah.
Because they always have the Andrews sisters. And who doesn't want to who doesn't like the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B? It's a great song. It's a good song. At number 7, we have Idris Elba.
Talk about slapstick. You wouldn't want him to slap you with a stick.
Absolutely
that
not.
Would hurt.
Absolutely great characters over the years.
Yes.
Some questionable movies like The Dark Tower, but he still performed greatly in them. You know, The Dark Tower is an acquired taste for most people. I have yet to see it, but I've seen enough. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen enough of it to where I know I would probably like it, but it's going to leave me wanting more, and there will never be more.
Yeah.
Because Matthew McConaughey is the bad guy. I need that in my life.
He did a really good job as the bad guy in that movie.
But Idris Elba is the bad guy in the horrible movie Hobbs and Shaw. Don't get me started on Dwayne Johnson holding a dadgum helicopter from the back of a truck when he's not supposed to be a superhero, and that's so stupid.
Those movies have gotten a little ridiculous or
Well,
a lot
here's the
ridiculous.
thing though. The Final Fantasy, the Fast and the Furious franchise has gotten more ridiculous, but they're still enjoyable. Hobbs and Shaw was just stupid.
That is true. Hobbs and Shaw and the Fast and Furious movies are okay. Their own movies, yeah, top pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Like Fast 10, dude, we need to have a whole discussion about Fast 10 because
God.
old Jason Momoa,
I haven't
he
seen it
is,
yet.
bro, you need to watch that just for Jason Momoa.
I've seen a lot of it on TikTok where he's like got dead people doing their fingernails and stuff.
Dude, that scene. Dude sitting there dead in a lawn chair, okay? He's got margaritas made with duct tape and clear tape all over their face, holding their eyes open and stuff. And he's talking to him and he bumps him a little like he's just like getting his attention, so his head falls forward. And he says, "Hold up," and he grabs him by the forehead and sits him back up and he says, "Look at me while I'm talking." And he's been dead for like half an hour.
Jeez.
Oh
Yeah, I
man.
gotta watch it.
Number 8. Did I fire 6? Did I fire 5 shots or 6? Are you feeling lucky, punk? Well, do you? We're talking about Clint Eastwood, one of the greatest storytellers to come out
Yeah.
of Hollywood, one
He's
of the
made a
greatest
lot of movies.
directors, yes, and absolutely goated character. Well, I say character actor; he just pretty much plays himself. But
Yeah.
some of the
And
greatest movies are under his belt. Gran
one of my
Torino.
favorite movies of his is not even a Western. Kelly's Heroes.
Oh, there's Kelly's Heroes, Gran Torino,
Yeah.
The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. There's also the
Was
Mule.
Yeah, Two Mules for Sister Sarah.
Well, there's also the Mule, the old guy that runs
Oh,
drugs
yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah.
cartel. Trouble with the Curve. Him and
Yeah.
Amy Adams.
Yes.
He's got killer movies. Don't forget that
He
he
does.
also directed Captain. Oh gosh, what was the guy's name that landed? Sully. He
Oh, yeah.
directed Sully.
He did direct that, didn't he?
Let's see what all else he's directed because he's got some.
Oh, he's.
Oh, $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go. Just to he has directed over 35 films. I'm hoping that they've got a list of stuff. Okay, so there's going to be some movies on here that I haven't seen, but the ones I've seen I can speak for. So there's White Hunter Black Heart in 1990. Changeling from 2008. That is got Angelina Jolie and John Malkovich. I'm going to have to see if I can watch that movie just for John Malkovich.
Yeah.
A Perfect World with Kevin Costner and himself and Laura Dern.
Space Cowboys. Let's see.
Letters from Iwo Jima in 2006.
Yeah.
Gran Torino, he directed that. Sully. He directed American Sniper. That's the one I was trying to remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, man, that movie tears me up.
Oh, he was also in what was that Prison Break movie he was in?
Well, I'm just talking about the ones he's directed.
Oh.
He directed Mystic River, $1 Million Baby, and he directed Unforgiven.
He directed Firefox.
He directed Unforgiven, one of the greatest modern westerns to come. This Unforgiven and Tombstone is where you go for new westerns.
For westerns, yeah. We was talking about the Red Scare earlier. He Firefox. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Such a great movie. He is an American pilot that has to go into Russia and steal the What it's a new MiG they're developing, codenamed Firefox.
Oh, okay. Hey, real quick, just to touch on something. If you haven't seen the movie, go and watch it. Speaking of going into a enemy territory, if you haven't seen the Owen Wilson movie, Behind Enemy Lines, great movie.
That is a good movie.
Number 9, one who was taken from us far too soon,
Yep.
Patrick Swayze. Great movies such as Ghost and Roadhouse, along with one of the funniest movies I have ever seen, starring Patrick Swayze,
Mm-hmm.
Wesley Snipes, and John, I'm going to butcher his last name, John Leguizamo? Leguizamo?
Oh yeah, him. Yeah.
That was To Somebody with Love. I'm trying to find it now. Oh, Dirty Dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Come on.
Let's see.
There was he was in Red Dawn.
Apparently, he was in Fox and the Hound too. He played
Yeah,
Cash.
yeah.
Huh.
I'm trying to think of the name of the movie he was in. To Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. That's it. That movie is so funny. It is so funny.
I might have to look that up.
Okay, I'll explain the premise to you.
Mhm.
John Leguizamo, however you say his last name. I'm sorry, sir, if I screw it up. I am very white and southern. Number 2, okay, Wesley Snipes, and number
Uh-huh.
3, Patrick Swayze as as dragway models.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. Oh man. Oh, he was in. How did I forget? He's in Point Break.
Yeah. He was in Red Dawn. The 84 Red Dawn.
Oh, Black Dog. That's where he's the trucker. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah. Fantastic movies, highly entertaining. Honestly, very good looking guy.
Yeah, he was very
Knew
good
how to
looking.
knew how to do a fight scene, like the stuff that he did in Roadhouse and even Black Dog. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Could woo the ladies and stuff like Ghost and Dirty Dancing. I mean,
Yeah, if
it's
Williams had faults.
well, yeah. I mean, everybody does. I mean, his biggest fault was the battle with depression and the fact
Yeah.
that he had early onset Alzheimer's that didn't really help. It was some
But
kind of something, but
as a person, he was an amazing man.
yeah. However, our next person, our number 10, belongs to Coors Banquet. Guts, Glory, Ram. We're talking about Mr. Mustache himself, Sam Elliott, the new mayor of Quahog. He is
That was a great episode.
my grandmother's favorite actor, and he is one of my favorites as well.
He is one of my favorite actors.
Mr. Elliott, in all seriousness, we wish you a long life because I don't want to see you gone. He has given us some great characters over the years, from his role in Roadhouse as Dalton's as Dalton was like his understudy.
Yeah.
To
Virgil Earp.
Oh man.
Yes.
Virgil Earp in Tombstone, to We Were Soldiers with Mel
that is
Gibson.
one of my favorites of his.
There was let's see, A Star Is Born, playing Bradley Cooper's brother. Absolutely great. His role on the ranch, the funniest role in the whole dang show. I'll go ahead and tell you that much now. He had the best role. He was the best character on there.
Yes.
As Bo.
1883. The prequel to the Yellowstone.
And he worked with he made a movie or a show. And this is going to be another man that's going to make our top 10 list in the next show. Well, maybe not the next one, but in one soon.
Sometime.
It's called The Shadow Riders. And you know who
Oh,
his
yeah.
co-star was? Freaking
Oh, yeah.
Tom Selleck,
The other mustache of Hollywood.
the other mustache of Hollywood, and realistically, the only other mustache of Hollywood. Him and
Yeah.
Tom Selleck. That is
If
a
you think mustache,
power
those are the
duo.
two guys. Yeah.
But that's our celebrity list because I just looked down and we're nearly 20 minutes into the recording and we're still talking about this. So let's move on. So much for our branching out and getting a brand deal and all that. We're just going to have to kiss all that goodbye.
Nah. We just got to make another show that we just talk about stuff.
Fair. We'll just call that Theoretical Insights of Life.
Yeah, that'll work.
To kick off this list, we are starting with the Adult Solar Dragon. And you can look at the CR14 list on 5etools/bestiary.com and wonder, why not the black, copper, emerald, or topaz dragon? Why? Because you remember when we covered the young solar dragon? The solar dragon is going to make the list every time it makes an appearance.
Yes. Solar
So,
Dragon is top tier.
The Adult Solar Dragon is a huge dragon with an AC of 17, 200 health, or you can take the max of 16 D12 plus 96. I'm not going to try to do that math. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, let me pull out my cake. Man, we done got off the wrong foot just talking about random stuff because I didn't even got a calculator up.
Oh, you're not prepared.
Listen, today kids didn't have school and it's a Friday and it threw me off. That is 284 health.
284 health. With a movement speed of 30 and a flying speed of 90 with hover. Plus 7 to dexterity and charisma saving throws, plus 8 to wisdom, and plus 11 to con. With a plus 13 to perception, a plus 7 to stealth. Immune to radiant and immune to the blinded condition. Has a dark vision of 180 feet with a passive perception of 23.
He can see you.
This dragon has flyby. The dragon does not provoke opportunity attacks when it flies out of an enemy's reach. Has 2 uses per day of legendary resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Nebulous thoughts, magical attempts to read the dragon's mind or glean its thoughts fail automatically. It is also a siege monster, and with its unusual nature, it doesn't require air. Well, that makes sense because it's in space.
Yeah.
So the multi-attack, it makes 1 bite attack and 1 tail attack. The bite is a plus 12 to hit with a 15-foot reach, 2d6 plus 7 piercing damage, and 2d6 radiant damage. The tail is just a simple 1d6 plus 7 bludgeoning. But here comes the photonic breath on a recharge of 5 to 6. The dragon exhales a flashing mote of radiant energy that travels to a point the dragon can see within 180 feet of itself. There's that literal little mustard seed that I mentioned in the previous episode with the solar dragon. Then blossoms into a 30-foot radius sphere centered on that point. Each creature in the sphere must make a DC 19 Constitution saving throw or take 10d10 radiant damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. I want to put one of these into a game and have it be one of those southern hillbilly rednecks where his breath attack is just him spitting his backer out. You know, ding! And there's a big explosion.
It'd about be like having Mike the Wizard come in, except a giant Mike the Wizard.
With this little wizard hat. It also has legendary actions. He makes 1 tail attack, or he can use Burst of Light that costs 2 actions. The dragon emits magical light in a 30-foot radius sphere centered on itself. Each creature in this area must succeed on a DC 23 Wisdom saving throw or be blinded until the end of its next turn. And it's got some regional effects as far as blinding radiance. A creature within 10 miles of the star or inside it is blinded by its intense light unless they have some goggles of night or something similar. And stellar incineration. Any creature that enters the star or starts its turn inside it takes 24 24 D10 radiant damage. And the average is 132. We're starting the list with a Sam Elliott. Give this man a mustache and call him Sam because he's a 10.
That dragon has a solar mustache.
A solar mustache. He lights the way for me.
It's kind of like Rudolph, but without a red nose. It's a blinding mustache.
Yeah, the adult solar dragon is an absolute 10. And realistically, as far as like the named dragons like that, you know what I mean by that, like the adult and ancient and young.
The adult blank dragon.
Just about all of them have been 10s. I think there may have been 1 9.
Yeah, I think there was 1 9.
I mean, heck, if you go back to a previous episode of Copper Wormlings in Denzel Washington, the Copper Wormlings got a 10. But they were awesome.
Idea. Everybody listen to this. Go back and listen to the old episodes.
Yeah, because we need more downloads. Please like and subscribe. Just get that clickbait out of the way.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Ancient Sea Serpent. And it is ugly. Oh my gosh.
This dude has what you would call a gawping mouth.
It's not the mouth I'm concerned about. I've got a large nose, but this one makes me look like I'm just gorgeous.
That's almost a beak.
But he's got fangs inside the beak. How does that work? That's not even like anatomically possible. How does he close his mouth?
Because it's still fleshy. It's not a hard beak. It's just shaped like that.
Oh,
it's got that witch's nose.
No, he's like one of those people you see out in public with no teeth, but they never got their dentures, and their lips were like they had really good teeth at one point, but they just went away.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Their jaws are just right to where their lips just pile on top of each other. He's the uncle at the family gathering that you can't stand to watch chew his mashed potatoes. It is a gargantuan dragon with an AC of 17, 170 hit points, or you can take the max of 11 d20 plus 55 for a max health of 275. Movement speed of 20 feet and a swim speed of 60 while he's chewing his mashed potatoes.
You know, with a family dinner coming up,
yeah,
it's got some fresh memories coming in.
Oh. Somebody cooks a hamburger steak and you see your uncle over in the corner pre-gaming eating some whey.
Oh dear Lord.
It's got a plus 12 to strength saves and a plus 10 to constitution saves, a plus 8 to perception and a plus 7 to stealth. Immune to cold damage with a dark vision of 120 feet and a passive perception of 18. So it's going to be easier to get by this guy compared to the adult solar dragon. However, it kind of makes sense because this guy is supposed to be dwelling within the deep ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, realistically, there's ships going all over the place. You can probably get by him somewhat easily as long as you're not actively like searching him out.
Yeah.
He is amphibious, so he can use both his left and right arms simultaneously.
Yeah.
He has 2 uses of legendary resistance, and he has the siege monster capability, which makes him very dangerous for a seaborne combat. Because he can mess your ship all to... yeah, he can screw your ship over.
Like one of them English castles on the coast, and him just come up and just whap. Start gumming it like his mashed taters.
Like that guy. No, that would be a steak. It'd be like that guy that got knocked out by the fish he caught.
Yeah.
Went deep sea fishing, holding up his fish all proud, and then gets knocked out cold.
Yeah.
That's what that is. It has a multi-attack for a bite and a constrict or a telic attack. So the bite is a plus 12 to hit, 15-foot reach, 2d12 plus 7 piercing, plus 1d12 cold damage. That's actually kind of interesting that it's using a d12. The constrict is a plus 12 to hit with a 20-foot reach, 4d10 plus 7 bludgeoning damage, and the target is grappled with an escape DC of 20 Until this grapple ends, the target is restrained, and it can't restrict another target, which doesn't make sense because I'm sorry, a gargantuan creature would be gigantic, larger than the wingspan of a 747, and it can't grapple more than one? I don't know about that. The tail attack, plus 12 to hit, 20-foot reach, 1d12 plus 7 bludgeoning damage. If the target is a creature, it must succeed on a 20 strength saving throw or be pushed up to 30 feet away from the sea serpent and knocked prone. That's a big push.
That is a big push.
And the breath weapon, Rhyme Breath. And not rhyme like time, mime, and rhyme and mine. But rhyme
Master
is
Rob over here.
Yeah, oh yeah, you know it. I said a hip hop, a hippie too. Rhyme Breath, recharge of 5 to 6. The sea serpent exhales a 60-foot cone of cold. Nope, there it is. Cone of cold. Each creature in that area must make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw or take 9d10 cold damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful.
That's a big cone, 60 foot.
It's a large cone, but it's not as big as the ancient dragons. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
The ancient sea serpent has 3 legendary actions. One is the tail attack for 1 action, and the bite is 2 actions. Realistically, I mean, he's not a 10. He's definitely not a 10. And I don't see him being above Idris Elba, honestly.
I want to give him a 7. But
I
his
want to give
face
him a 7
reminds me
too.
of the vegan teacher.
Oh.
You eat your spinach and like it. Crayons are not vegan.
Now you've got me thinking that this thing just has the voice of the Wicked Witch of the East, dude.
Come on, do it.
I'll get you, my pretties. And your little dog, too.
Except it'd be a little robot, not a little dog.
Yeah, you got a point.
Oh. God.
You eat your green beans or you'll become the scum of humanity.
It's honestly, it's a 5 at best. It's not. It's something other than a dragon turtle that you can put into the sea for them to have a ship-based fight with, outside of with another ship or a dragon turtle. And I like it for that.
If
I
it
like
was just
the Rhyme Breath.
If it was just a sea serpent, no breath or nothing like that, I would give it a 5. But with the breath, I think it gets a 7.
Well, see, here's the thing. This is going to sound stupid, but because they have it technically considered a dragon, I think it took a hit in my book because of that. Not because it's a dragon, but because it is a weak dragon.
It is a weak dragon.
Because you compare it to the solar, emerald, copper, or black dragon at this level of CR rating, and it's just not holding up. Now, it's not anything to do with my preference for monstrosities, but I think if it had been a gargantuan monstrosity, it would have made more sense for it not to have had dragon-like power outside of its, breath weapon.
Yeah.
But there are monstrosities in this game that have, like AoE effects and some breath weapons and, other stuff they can do. So it would have still made sense. This fits the explanation of a monstrosity better than it does a dragon. But because it is an ancient sea serpent, I get why they consider it a dragon,
Yeah.
But for now, I'm sorry, I've got to give it a 5. It can't be any higher than that.
I see your point. I can see.
Not in my book anyway. However, there's one that could probably hit that number 10, and that is what's next, the Death Tyrant.
Yes.
Now, the Death Tyrant is an AC of 19, 187 hit points, or you can take the maximum of 25d10 plus 50 for 300 health. It's got a 0 I know. It's got a 0-foot movement, but it can fly 20 feet per turn and hover. It's got a +5 to strength saves, a +7 to constitution and wisdom, and +9 to intelligence and charisma. A +12 to perception, immune to poison, charmed, exhaustion, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, and prone. Dark vision of 120 feet with a passive perception of 22. So it's not going to be easy to get by this guy. And it makes sense because he's got a bunch of floating little eyeballs.
Well, when you look at what it is, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Now, this is a CR14, as we said earlier, but one thing I'd like to touch on is the Beholder is technically on the CR14 list because he is considered a CR14 when he is in his lair. And
Yeah.
for that reason, the Death Tyrant is considered a 15 while in his lair.
Yeah.
This one has a negative energy cone. The Death Tyrant's central eye emits an invisible, magical 150-foot cone of negative energy. That's a big cone.
That's a big cone.
At the start of each of its turns, the tyrant decides which way the cone faces and whether the cone is active. Any creature in that area can't regain hit points. Any humanoid that dies there becomes a zombie under the tyrant's command. The dead humanoid retains its place in the initiative order and animates at the start of its next turn, provided that its body hasn't been completely destroyed. And you say, why has it not? What do you mean completely destroyed? Because it still pretty much has all of the same eye rays as the Beholder.
Yeah, the disintegrate, all that good stuff.
Now, because we covered those in depth in the last episode, we're not going to cover all of them in depth again, except for a few. And those are the ones that are very dangerous to the party. So, whenever you decide to make an eye attack, it's got a bite attack that is a +5 to hit, 5-foot reach, 46 piercing damage, just as the Beholder.
Mm-hmm.
And then its eye rays. The Death Tyrant shoots 3 of the following magical eye rays at random, and you reroll the duplicates, choosing 1 to 3 targets it can see within 120 feet of it. One is the Charm Ray. The second is the Paralyzing Ray. The targeted creature must succeed on a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or be paralyzed for 1 minute. It can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. But that means that if you're within 20 feet of this thing as your Goliath barbarian or your human fighter or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then you get hit with this, you fail the con save, and on its next turn, it comes up and crits you for 4d6, either doubled or 8d6.
Yeah. He's doing some damage.
Fear Ray, Slowing Ray, which is pretty much the effects of the slow spell.
Yeah.
Innervation Ray, that's 8d8 necrotic damage if you fail to save. Telekinetic Ray, Sleep Ray, Petrification Ray, and begins turning you to stone. You have to make another save at the end of your next turn. On a failure, you're petrified until freed by the Greater Restoration spell or other magic. Now, honestly, by the time you're fighting one of these, hopefully your cleric or whatever class may have access to the Greater Restoration spell would have it, because I would figure you'd be high enough level to have access to a 5th level spell.
You should be, yeah.
Disintegration Ray. This is why it was talking about if the body is still there.
Yeah.
If you fail the 17 dexterity save, you take 10d8 force damage. And if that damage reduces you to 0, you become a pile of dust. You're gone.
Yeah, there's no helping you.
And number 10, the death ray, that is 10d10 necrotic damage. And you are dead if it reduces you to 0.
Yeah.
And it's got legendary actions as well. So after launching 3 eye rays, at the end of each turn before its next turn, it can do the same by launching a random eye ray in between turns. It's also got the layer. So we'll cover it slightly. So there's an area that's a 50-foot cube within 120 feet of the tyrant and is filled with spectral eyes and tentacles, and that's considered difficult terrain until the count of 20 on the next round. Wall sprout spectral appendages until initiative count 20 on the round after next. And those who are hostile to the tyrant and starts its turn within 10 feet of a wall has to make a dex save of 17 or be grappled. And a spectral eye opens in the air at a point within 50 feet of the tyrant. One random eye ray of the tyrant shoots from that eye, which is considered to be an ethereal source at a target of the tyrant's choice. The eye then closes and disappears. And that just goes on repeat. So you can have it however you want as far as your order, but you can go wall sprouts, difficult terrain, spectral eye, and then go difficult terrain, spectral eye, wall sprouts, then go spectral eye, wall sprouts, difficult terrain. You just can't have them repeat from round to round, and you can't use it again until you've used the other two. The Death Tyrant's a 10. It just is.
Yeah, he definitely gets a mustache.
Next, we have the Devkarin Lich. It's a medium undead, AC of 14 with 97 health, or you can take the max of 15 D8 plus 30 for a max health of 150. 150.
Yep, 150.
With a movement speed of 30 feet. Has a plus 7 to Constitution saving throws, plus 9 to Intelligence, and plus 8 to Wisdom, plus 14 to Arcana, and 8 to Insight and Perception. Resistant to necrotic, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks, immune to poison, and immune to charmed, exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, and poisoned. Has true sight of 120 feet and a passive perception of 18. And it speaks Common, Elvish, and Crawl. Has 3 uses of legendary resistance each day. Regeneration, where it gains 10 hit points at the start of each of its turns unless it takes fire or radiant damage. And is a 14th level Golgari spellcaster. With a spell save DC of 17 and a plus 9 to hit with spell attacks. And I'll just touch on some of the spells that are ridiculously scary. With first level, you have Chromatic Orb and Magic Missile and Ray of Sickness. Second level, Melf's Acid Arrow, Ray of Enfeeblement, Spider Climb, and Web. Third, Animate Dead, Bestow Curse, Fear, and Vampiric Touch. Fourth, Blight, Evard's Black Tentacles. Fifth, Cloud Kill and Insect Plague. Sixth, Circle of Death, Create Undead. And seventh, one of the most dreaded spells to have launched your way, Finger of Death.
Yep.
It has turn resistance and undead fortitude. This dude's strong. That's why he has such little health.
Mm-hmm.
Noxious Touch, melee spell attack, plus 9 to hit, 5-foot reach, 4d6 poison damage, and the target must succeed on a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or be poisoned for 1 minute. It can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. It also has legendary actions. It can cast a cantrip. It can use Noxious Touch for 2 actions, or for 3 actions, it can use Disrupt Life. Each creature within 30 feet of the Lich must make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or take 66 necrotic damage on a failed save and half as much on a successful one. And depending on how your DM rolls necrotic damage, that could lower your maximum health.
Yeah.
Most are specifically labeled as in lowering your maximum health, but some DMs rule it straight as necrotic damage lowers your max health for those really hard games.
Yeah.
He's not a 10, but I think he's at least a 7. Like he pretty much has to have thralls.
Yeah, he would have to.
But as a standalone, I think he's a 7, especially if you're a lower level party. With a CR14, say 6th, 9th, or 10th level characters, I think it'd be a really good fight.
Yeah, but max 150 health max.
See, that's the problem.
That's
He has
what's
no health.
that's what's getting me.
Oh, see, liches are glass cannons. They have no
Yeah,
health, but
that's true.
they're doing Finger of Death, Circle of Death, Cloud Kill, Blight, Evar's Black Tentacles, Ray of Enfeeblement, Magic Missile. They're doing stuff along with the Disrupt Life that's just putting out damage.
Yeah.
And this guy's got Vampiric Touch, so he can technically heal himself.
Yeah, I could give him a 7.
Next up, we have the Ember Rock. Going back to my favorite creature class, the Monstrosity. An AC of 14 with 232 health, or you can take the max 16 d20 plus 64 for a max health of 384.
Maybe.
I did it right.
Maybe.
Movement speed of 20, but a flying speed of 120. Plus 5 to Dex and Wisdom saves, plus 9 to Constitution, and plus 4 to Charisma, with a perception of plus 5. Immune to fire damage and a passive perception of 15. Illumination. Illumination, our usual minions nod.
Yes.
The rock sheds bright light in a 40-foot radius in dim light for an additional 40 feet. Keen sight, the rock has advantage on perception checks that rely on sight. Searing presence, any creature that starts its turn within 5 feet of the rock takes 2d6 fire damage. So yes, now you can smell what the rock is cooking.
And it's you.
It's you. If you're standing too close.
But I mean, that is within 5 feet, so you've got to be
Yeah.
up there punching it, basically.
Multi-attack, the rock makes 2 attacks, one with its beak and one with its talons. The beak is a plus 13 to hit, 4d8 plus 8 piercing damage, and 2d6 fire damage. The talons are 4d6 plus 8 slashing damage and 2d6 fire damage. It's not doing bad damage. It's doing good damage.
Yeah, it's decent.
And Inferno. Recharge of 5 to 6. The rock beats its wings, creating a swirling conflagration. Each creature within 30 feet of the rock must succeed on a DC 18 dexterity saving throw or take 6d6 fire damage.
Mm.
And that's within 30 feet of it. It's not a cone or a line. It's the AoE. And it's not doing quite the same amount of damage as Fireball, but it's 30 feet within itself.
And that's a DC 18 on dex save.
Yeah. So yeah, the ranger and the rogue and the monk are probably going to make that. Maybe even the bard, possibly even the wizard, because if you don't have a good dexterity as a wizard, your armor class is going to be garbage.
Yeah.
However, especially if you take lightly armored, but it's really good as just a base level. It is a really good addition to what the original rock was. They have taken the rock and made it better.
Yeah.
They really have. They have taken a rock and made it better. They've made it more intimidating. They've given it better abilities.
It has evolved. It's a Pokemon.
It's not a phoenix, but it's the scary version of a phoenix.
Yeah. It's a phoenix that doesn't come back after you kill it.
It's an 8. It's a definite Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I could give it a Clint Eastwood. Yeah,
Definite 8 on the. Next, we have the Greater Death Dragon. You thought the Solar Dragon was going to be the only one on the list? You're sorely mistaken, sir.
But it's a Death Dragon.
It's a Death Dragon. It's free real estate. Armor class of 16. 230 health, or you can take the max of 20d12 for a plus 100 for a max health of 340. I'm telling you, dude, even numbers are easy.
Yeah.
Movement speed of 40 with a flying speed of 80, plus 5 to dex saves and plus 7 to wisdom, plus 7 to perception and 5 to stealth. Resistant to piercing and immune to necrotic and poison. Immune to exhaustion and poisoned. Has a blind sight of 60 feet, dark vision of 120 feet, and a passive perception of 17. Has 3 uses of legendary resistance, and thanks to its unusual nature and the fact that it's undead, it doesn't require air, food, drink, or sleep.
It's literally a dead dragon.
Well, it's
But
an
it's not a
undead
bone
dragon.
dragon.
It's an undead dragon.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a dead dragon outside of the dragon being dead, you fool.
I mean, he technically had to die.
Well, yeah, but he's not dead anymore. He's not alive either. That's the
Whatever.
weird.
Yeah.
See, that's the conversation we can have. What's the difference between dead,
and undead?
undead, and alive? The dragon makes
we could go
one.
into such a deep conversation. Now you got my brain going. I'm not gonna be.
It's about time it started going. Dadgum. Oh, Lord, I saw a cobweb fly out.
Listen. It's been a day.
It's been a day. The dragon makes 1 bite attack and 2 claw attacks. The bite is a plus 11 to hit, 10-foot reach, 2d10 plus 6 piercing damage plus 1d8 necrotic. If the target is large or smaller, it is grappled with an escape DC of 19. Until the
Jeez.
grapple ends, the target's restrained and the dragon can't bite a different target. The claw is a plus 11 to hit, 5-foot reach, 1d8 plus 6 slashing damage. Here's the interesting part. Cataclysmic Breath. Recharge of 5 to 6. The dragon exhales a wave of ghostly purple flames in a 60-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 18 dexterity saving throw or take 10d8 necrotic damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. And you think, oh, that's it. That's where you're wrong. If a creature dies, if the breath reduces it to 0 hit points. Additionally, any medium or smaller humanoid killed by the breath's damage, as well as every corpse of such a creature within the cone, becomes a zombie under the dragon's control. The zombie acts on the dragon's initiative, but immediately after the dragon's turn. Absent any other command, the zombie tries to kill any non-undead creature it encounters. So, just think of this. You remember the Val Hazak fight from Monster Hunter World?
Mm-hmm.
How he was buried in a mound of corpses?
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine a fight against a greater death dragon in which he is buried under a mound of corpses, and every time he rerolls his cataclysmic breath, he's raising 20 to 30 zombies.
Jeez. See, I'm interested in this bite with a DC 19 to be grappled. Was he got lich glue on his tongue or something?
Oh no, it's
Coming soon to a town near you, Lich Glue.
We'll get into a story of that eventually. But no, it's not a save to keep from being grappled either.
To escape the grapple.
Once it hits, you're grappled. It's done. It's finished. It's dealt with. You are there in its mouth, awaiting for it to use its cataclysmic breath. While you're in its mouth, it's doing the SpongeBob onion breath.
I'm assuming you would fail your deck save on that.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, restrained makes you make deck saves at disadvantage. Yep, disadvantage on deck saves.
So what kind of breakdancing you got to do in its mouth while it breathes?
You
dodge that breath.
You're going to be looking like that fish that knocked that guy out.
The rogue in its mouth just breakdancing.
You hear the dragon do an inhale, and you see the rogue in its mouth just like, it's just, oh no, this is not good. The eldritch knight on his nightmare mount in the distance. Well, I guess we're going to have to find ourselves a new companion. As a legendary action, the dragon can make one claw attack. And it also has Cataclysmic Rush that costs 2 actions. The dragon moves up to half its flying speed without provoking opportunity attacks, carrying with it any creature it's grappling. During this move, if it enters the space of a medium or smaller creature, that creature takes 1d8 necrotic damage. A creature can take this damage only once per turn. That's rough.
So it's going to scoop you up and then fly away.
The Greater Death Dragon is just as cool as the Solar Dragon.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between
It gets a mustache.
It's the difference between the Ancient Sea Serpent and the Greater Death Dragon is that the Greater Death Dragon feels like a dragon.
The dragon roll.
The Sea Serpent did not.
No.
And for that, it gets a 10. Sam Elliott, it has a rotting mustache.
Yes.
Next up is the Hulgaz. I think I'm saying that right. It's a large fiend, AC of 17, 190 hit points, or you can take the max of 20d10 plus 80 for 280 health. Has a movement speed of 30 and a flying speed of 30 feet with hover. Plus 7 to wisdom saves and plus 10 to charisma. We pretty much know it's going to have a decent charisma being a fiend.
Yeah.
Plus 10 to deception and persuasion, plus 7 to insight and perception. It is resistant to acid, cold, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't silvered. Immune to fire and poison. Immune to charmed and poisoned. True sight of 120 feet with a passive perception of 17.
You figure they'd be higher with that true sight.
Well, maybe. True sight doesn't mean you can have eyes on the back of your head. You know?
I know, but maybe an 18 or something.
Yeah, I could see an 18, honestly. Legendary resistance 3 times per day, and it has our favorite magic resistance because screw those sorcerers for being so weak. Multi attack. Oh, I'm going to have to hear about that one. Hulgaz. The Hulgaz makes 2 claw attacks and 1 intoxicating sting. The claw is a plus 8 to hit with 5-foot reach, 2d8 plus 3 slashing damage. Not that much. Intoxicating sting, plus 8 to hit, 10-foot reach, 1d10 plus 3 piercing damage, plus 3d6 poison damage, and the target must succeed on a DC 17 wisdom saving throw or have the charmed condition until the start of the Hulgaz's next turn. That's pretty good.
Love potion number 9 right there.
Love potion number 9.
Great classic song.
Brimstone Vapor. Recharge of 5 to 6. The Hulgaz excels a 30-foot cone of noxious, scorching hot vapor. Oh, she vapes.
She'll get that really raunchy flavor with a burnt coil.
Yeah. And she went to a competition with it.
Oh, God.
Each creature in that area must succeed on a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or have the poison condition for 1 minute. Oh, while poisoned in this way, a creature takes 7d8 fire damage at the start of each of its turns and has disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. A target can repeat the con save at the end of each of its turns, ending its... That just made it a 9 at least.
Yeah.
Oh, it also has spellcasting.
Of course it does.
With a spell save DC of 18, at will it has Charm Person, twice a day each, Dispel Magic and Fog Cloud, and 1 time per day, Teleport. That's rough.
Just a little bit.
Oh, and guess what?
What?
It has legendary actions.
Of course it does.
The Hulgaz makes 1 claw attack. Or it can use the spellcasting to cast Charm Person. Also, it has Curdle Heart. Costs 2 actions. Hulgaz sours the good feelings of her charmed victims. She chooses any number of creatures she can see who are charmed by her. Each target takes 5d6 radiant damage as the charmed condition applied by the Hulgaz ends on it. Now think about this wombo combo.
Mm-hmm.
Eric,
Yeah.
brimstone vapor. She inhales and exhales her burnt mod coil vape, breathes it on you. You become poisoned,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start taking 7d8 fire damage at the end of each of your turns.
At the start of each of your turns.
Oh, yeah, at the start of each of your turns. Now, in between, she's been casting Charm Person, and 4 out of 6 has failed.
That or stinging people.
And then she takes the time to sting the barbarian, and he fails the wisdom saving throw. That's 5 out of 6. And guess what? Psychic damage is the one type of damage that nobody can reduce outside of the Kalishtar that I know of as far as playable races. But as far as classes go, that's the only damage type that the bear totem barbarian can't reduce.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now there's 5 out of the 6 that are charmed, and she's like, oh, by the way, at the end of your turn, Mr. Wizard, I'm gonna curdle all of your hearts. And she deals a total, because I know it's gonna be a broad spectrum of just 5d6, but because it's to 5 characters, she deals 25d6 worth of damage.
Yeah.
Especially if you wanted to roll it for each individual character.
Yeah.
She's a 10. And the reason I say she is because it looks very feminine in the picture provided.
Yeah. See, she had me at about a 7.
She had me in the first half, I ain't gonna lie.
And then the brimstone vapor kind of got me like a 8.5. And then her curdle heart kind of bumped it up to a 10. She just walks by you. I don't love you anymore.
Oof. Just like a woman. Just breaking a heart there. It's like the worst of them anyway.
Yeah, she gets a mustache.
She gets a mustache. Dude, you have any idea? Because we base this not off of how much fun, not only how much fun it would be to run this, but how you can use this in a fight, and then how much fun would it be to fight this? Because this would be a fun fight.
I would love to try to heal this. As much pain as it might cause me, I would like to heal this.
Oh, you would have to be a cleric.
Yeah.
There's no other. I don't care what anybody else says. You're wrong. Okay, we're right.
I would go life cleric.
We're right 90% of the time. If you want to keep up with this, once you get up to CR 14, if you want to keep up with healing the damage that's coming out, you have to have a cleric in the party.
Paladins have a good one-shot heal. Druids can keep you topped off. But
now I will say,
your healer.
The cleric is best for like large sum healing. There is a multi-class that is viable for keeping people up, but not keeping them well healed.
Yeah.
And that is the Celestial Warlock and the Divine Soul Sorcerer multi-class.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Celestial Warlock.
Jeremiah played that in my game, and he did not do big number healing, but he did some serious healing.
Yeah, it was like everybody
because of
all
Twin
the time.
Spell and all that. It was just almost every other round he was healing for at least, 12 health? Because 12 health is 12 health.
Yeah. And that wasn't just one person getting 12 health. It was 2 or 3 people.
Yeah. It's a really good option. And those two will outdo the Bard or the Druid or the Ranger any day of the week on healing.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have the Lindworm. Now, the Lindworm is another dragon, except this one looks really cool.
To be so simple, it looks really cool.
it's a snake, like an honest to goodness snake with 2 rows of teeth in the picture, but it's got like
It's got chicken wings with no feathers.
I was going to say praying mantis arms, but okay.
No, you go to
You
the
just
grocery
ruined
store.
it. It's no longer cool. It's not cool anymore.
You go to the grocery store and they've got the whole wing, the whole arm, and then everything. That's what that is.
Except this one comes from one of those discount stores, so you can
Where it's
see
all
all
gray.
the pores. Yeah, where it's all gray and there's some feathers left. You're just like, I don't know if I should eat this.
This is some Dollar Tree chicken wings.
Oof. It's an AC of 16, 186 health, or you can take the max of 12d20 plus 60 for a max health of 300. 40-foot movement speed and a burrow speed of 30 feet. Plus 11 to strength saves, plus 7 to dex, and plus 10 to con. Plus 7 to perception and plus 7 to stealth. Resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. Immune to poison and the poisoned condition. Dark vision of 120 feet with a tremor sense of 120 feet. This is now tremors.
I was thinking tremors or a doom sandworm.
It just saved itself from not being a 10 because of your chicken wing comment, because now I'm thinking of the movie Tremors.
I was still going to give it a 10 with chicken wings.
Passive perception of 17. It's got disease immunity. It's immune to all non-magical diseases. And it's got 3 uses of legendary resistance.
Yep.
And here's where it gets a little weird.
I mean, it's weird already.
The Lindworm makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. Well, it's chicken wings.
Yes.
The Lindworm can substitute a swallow attack for one of its claw attacks. The bite is a plus 11 to hit with a 15-foot reach. 3d10 plus 6 piercing damage, and the target must make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw, taking 4d8 poison damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. On a hit, the target is also grappled with an escape
glue on the tongue.
With an escape DC of 18. Until this grapple ends, the target's restrained, and it can't bite another target. The claw is a plus 11 to hit, 10-foot reach, 2d8 plus 6 slashing damage. Swallow, plus 11 to hit, 1 huge or smaller creature the Lindworm is grappling. 3d10 plus 6 piercing damage, and the target is swallowed, and the grapple ends. The swallowed target is blinded and restrained. It has total cover from against outside attacks, and it takes 6d8 acid damage at the start of each of the Lindworm's turns. It can only have 1 target swallowed at a time. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm sorry. It's a gargantuan creature. I would say that it could swallow everybody.
Yeah, it can swallow huge or smaller creatures.
I'm sorry, but it's a gargantuan creature. It should be able to swallow a full party.
The whole party's going down its gullet, and that is their mount now.
And that is my own ruling. I'm sorry. If it was only huge, then I could get it. But it's gargantuan. Yeah. It's massive. It needs to be able to swallow more than 1. If the Lindworm takes 40 damage or more on a single turn from the swallowed creature, the Lindworm must succeed on a DC 18 Constitution save. You know, the save that it's got a plus 10 to.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're puked back up. The Lindworm also has legendary actions. It has a claw attack, and for 2 actions, burrowing rush. The Lindworm burrows its speed and comes up beneath a target touching the ground, making a bite attack. This movement does not provoke opportunity attacks.
Of course it doesn't. Yeah, that's a tremor. That's a graboid.
That's terrifying because it doesn't matter how much damage your party does. If you are swallowed, this is why it can only swallow 1 at a time.
Yeah.
That right there is why. Because you have to deal 40 damage to it while you're inside of it, taking 6d8 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. And guess what? There's no save for that. It's automatic.
Yeah.
Unless you're the only way to resist that is if you have resistance to acid damage. There's no save.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the bite damage and then you take the swallow damage, and the swallow damage is the same as the bite outside of the 4d8 poison damage. And then you take 68 acid damage at the start of the Lindworm's next turn. Because, I'm sorry, if the Lindworm takes one attack with its bite and hits, it can claw the next person that's within melee reach and then swallow the one that it just grappled, and it's immediately gone. And they have to make those attacks. Let me see. 0 attack rolls against the creature have advantage, and the creatures. Yeah, you will be making all those attacks against against an AC of 16 at disadvantage, and you have to deal 40 damage
Yeah.
to be regurgitated.
Here's
This
another
dude's
cool thing about
cool.
Lindworm.
What's that?
You can get Lindworm venom from it.
Oh, is it
And-
like the purple worm venom?
And coat your weapons and it does an extra 8d8 damage.
Isn't that the same damage as the purple worm?
I think so.
Well, I'll say I'll be honest. The Lindworm looks so much cooler because it really does just look like a giant anaconda with
With
chicken wings.
Yep.
I'm sorry, it may look kind of stupid once you think about them being chicken wings. It looks awesome if you think that they're praying mantis arms.
Thick praying mantis arms.
Yeah, if you think of them as chicken wings, it looks stupid. If you think of it as praying mantis arms, it looks awesome. This is another 10.
Yeah, this is one of those you're
After-
going to have to actually go to the website and look at it.
Yeah, after the 5e tools /bestiary, go and look at the picture of the Lindworm. Or if anything else, on our Discord, we will definitely be posting a picture of this thing, because I think I found one of my new favorite dragons. Honestly, the Lindworm is really cool.
Let me go ahead and post that up here.
Yeah, do that. It's a 10,
Yes, it does get a mustache.
and it can comb its mustache with its chicken wings.
Yes.
Next up, we have the Magma Land Shark. It is a huge elemental, and in the picture, it looks absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. 18 AC, 150 health, or you can take the max of 12d12 plus 72 for a max health of 214? No, 216, sorry.
Hold on.
It's 144 plus 72.
Yeah. Yeah, 216.
Has a +7 to perception, immune to fire, dark vision of 60 feet, tremor sense of 120. Okay. Passive perception of 17. And it has illumination. 15-foot radius of
magma.
dim light and additional 15 feet. Oh, sorry, 15-foot radius of bright light and dim light for an additional 15. Searing presence. Any creature that starts its turn within 10 feet of the land shark takes 2d10 fire damage. Standing leap. The land shark's long jump is up to 40 feet, and its high jump is up to 20, with or without a running start. This guy is an Olympic gold medalist.
Boy got some thick legs.
This
He
guy
never
is
skips leg day.
This guy is the long jump version of Kurt Angle. The bite, and it does not have multi-attack. The bite is a +11 to hit, and there's a reason.
Yeah.
Okay? 5-foot reach, 6d12 plus 6 piercing damage, and 4d6 fire damage. If the target is large or smaller, it must succeed on a dexterity saving throw of 18, or be swallowed by the land shark. Oh, wow. And it takes 12d6 fire damage at the start of each of the land shark's turns. That is the equivalent of a 9th level. No, sorry. It is the equivalent of a 7th level fireball at the start of each of the land shark's turns.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to, the land shark, if it takes 30 damage or more from a single turn from a creature inside it, it must succeed on a DC 23 con save or regurgitate. Now, here's the thing. It's got It does not have any pluses to con. It just has a +6. It's not proficient with con saves. Maybe it's doable. It might be doable. And
Maybe.
deadly leap if the land shark jumps at least 15 feet as part of its movement. It can then use its action to land on its feet in a space that contains one or more other creatures. Each of those creatures must succeed on a DC 18 strength or dexterity saving throw, the target's choice, or be knocked prone, taking 6d6 plus 6 bludgeoning damage plus 6d6 fire damage. On a successful save, the target only takes half damage and isn't knocked prone, and is pushed 5 feet out of the land shark's space into an unoccupied space of the creature's choice. If no unoccupied space is within range, the creature instead falls prone in the land shark space, and then takes 2d10 fire damage for starting its turn within 10 feet of it.
Man, this thing is just like fireball, fireball, fireball.
And then lava pool on a recharge of 6. If the land shark is on solid ground, it melts the area around it, creating a pool of lava in a 10-foot radius. Each creature that starts its turn in the area or enters it for the first time on a turn takes There is no save, sir. There is not a save for lava pool, and it's 8d10 fire damage. There's no save. It's just instantaneous.
You just take the damage.
So let me get this straight. This thing jumps 40 feet without a running start because it's an Olympic gold medalist, okay? It lands on you dealing 6d6 plus 6 plus 6d6 fire damage.
Yep.
You are knocked prone because you suck at strength and dexterity saving throws because you're the sorcerer, okay?
Oh, God.
Next thing you know, you have to expend half your movement to stand up. You don't have this Misty Step spell because you didn't think you were going to need it, and this thing popped up out of nowhere. Okay? You don't want to move because it's got a +11 to hit on its reaction opportunity attack, which is 6d12 plus 6 plus 4d6 fire damage. So you're like, I don't feel like moving either. But guess what? It just uses lava pool, and you immediately take 8d10 fire damage. In a matter of 2 rounds, you have taken 100 points of damage.
Yes.
It's a 10. It is a 10.
Another
by far a 10. This is my favorite creature so far on this list.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it is by far my favorite creature on the list because that standing long jump. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it's got a movement speed of 50, a burrow speed of 50, and a swimming speed of 50 in lava.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. This guy. Holy crap.
Yep.
It's cooler than the sea serpent by a mile, and it's cooler than the lindworm. It's not as cool as the death dragon or solar dragon, but it's cooler than the lindworm. We gave the lindworm a 10. This guy is a solid 10.
Everything's cooler than the ancient sea serpent that is sitting at the family gathering mushing up his mashed potatoes.
Oof. Let me just do the math on that real quick. So, just say everything goes absolutely wrong for 2 rounds, okay?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, 2 rounds because of the reaction opportunity attack. So the average of a D6 is 4, okay? And the average of a D12 is 7. So that would be 45. That's what it says on here. 45 piercing damage plus 14 fire damage from the opportunity attack.
Mm-hmm.
But first, it does its deadly leap. dealing 27 plus 21. That's 48. Then, because you don't want to move, you does Lava Pool, dealing another 44, which puts it to 92. In which case, you decide you need to move Opportunity Attack, and that 92 goes up to 137, and then 151, and then you're swallowed because it hits, and you're swallowed automatically to where at the start of its next turn, you take another 42. It's 190 points of damage just on the average. Just the average. And that's over the span of 3 rounds of, well, technically 2 rounds of very, very unfortunate combat on the player's part.
Can this be Sam Elliott's mount in the next Ghost Rider?
Absolutely. It's a 10. It's a 10 by far. I'm going to move off of it before I keep talking about it. Next up, we have the Regisaur. It's a gargantuan monstrosity dinosaur. 17 AC, 181 health, or you can take the max of 11d20 plus 66 for a max health of 286. With a movement speed of 40. Has a passive perception of 11, and that's it. It's a dinosaur. What do you expect? Except this one has magic resistance.
Of course it does.
Also, it has a multi-attack. Makes 1 bite attack and 1 tail attack, and it can't target the same creature with both attacks. Here's why. The bite is a plus 13 to hit with a 10-foot reach, 6d12 plus 8 piercing damage, and the target has the grapple condition with a DC 18 escape. Until it ends, the target's restrained, and the Regisaur can't bite another target. The tail is a plus 13 to hit, 20-foot reach, 4d8 plus 8 bludgeoning damage. And as the bonus action, it has Swallow. Plus 13 to hit, a huge or smaller target grappled by the Regisaur. You become swallowed, and you take 2d6 acid damage at the start of each of the Regisaur's turns. And it can have up to 2 creatures swallowed at a time. And if it takes 25 damage from a single turn from a swallowed creature, it must make a DC 16 Constitution saving throw or regurgitate the creature.
I like this one. It can have 2 people swallowed.
I really like this one. It is simple, straight to the point. There's not a whole lot going on with it because it's going to be a lot easier for a newer DM that's like, you know what, let's bring out something kind of wild against this group of people. It's good, but it's not overly cool. That's the problem. I mean, it's a dinosaur, so it earns brownie points, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think I can put it above a number 6 with Abbott and Costello.
I was going to give it a Clint Eastwood.
I don't know, dude. I really don't. If honestly, and this is going to make me sound like a cruel DM, if it had more acid damage on the swallow, yes, I would put it in a Clint Eastwood. If it was 4d6 acid damage. If it was 4d6 acid damage, Clint Eastwood. 3d6, Idris Elba. 2d6, Abbott and Costello, number 6.
But I mean, it's another gargantuan dinosaur. It's cool.
Oh, it's cool. That's why I said it earns brownie points. But the only problem that it has is once it bites, it has to use a bonus action to swallow, or it can't use its bite again. And God forbid you miss with a swallow attack. If you nat 1 that, you choke.
You choke, fight's over.
Yep. You suffocate. But no, I think okay. I can give it an Idris Elba. I'll bump it up to 7 just because it's a dinosaur.
I still gotta give it a Clint Eastwood.
Next up, we have the Shemeshka. I think that's right. Shemeshka. Yeah. It's another Yugoloth fiend. You remember the fox we talked about?
Yeah, it's another Kinsai.
Yeah. What was it? What were they called? What is it again? Starts with a K.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
You can tell we're a couple of southern idiots. So I almost said kunai, and I know that's a freaking weapon.
So it's Kensei. Kitsune.
Kitsune. AC of 17, 162 health, or you can take the max of 25d8 plus 50 for a max health of 250. Movement speed of 30 with a flying speed of 30 feet with hover. Plus 7 to dex saves, plus 10 to intelligence, 8 to wisdom, and 9 to charisma. 9 to deception, and 8 to both insight and perception. Resistant to cold, fire, lightning, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks, and immune to acid and poison, immune to the charmed and poisoned conditions. True sight of 120 feet with a passive perception of 18, and it knows all languages with the telepathy of 120 feet. Special equipment. Shemeshka carries a magic crown called the Razorvine Tiara. In the hands of anyone other than the Shemeshka, the Razorvine Tiara functions as a tentacle rod that deals slashing damage instead of bludgeoning damage. What is the tentacle rod? Made by the Drow, this rod is a magic weapon that ends in 3 rubbery tentacles. While holding the rod, you can use an action to direct each tentacle to attack a creature you can see within 15 feet of you. Each tentacle makes a melee attack roll with a +9 bonus. On a hit, the tentacle deals 1d6 bludgeoning damage. If you hit a target with all 3, it must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. On a failure, the creature's speed is halved. It has disadvantage on dex saves, and it can't use reactions for 1 minute.
Ooh.
Moreover, on each of its turns, it can take either an action or bonus action, but not both. At the end of each of its turns, it can repeat the saving throw, ending the effect on itself. So it hits it with a mini slow.
Yeah.
Has 4 uses of legendary resistance,
Of course.
and has magic resistance as well.
Of course.
It uses a multi-attack using Arcane Flux oh, that's an awesome name.
Mm-hmm.
Or spellcasting. She then makes 1 claw attack or 1 attack with her Razorvine Tiara. Arcane Flux. Shemeshka causes a surge of arcane energy to burst around one creature she can see within 120 feet of herself. The target must make a DC 18 dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 7d12 force damage and has the incapacitated condition until the end of its next turn.
Jeez.
On a success, it takes half as much damage only. The claw is a +10 to hit, 5-foot reach, 2d4 plus 5 slashing damage, and 4d6 poison damage. Razorvine Tiara, +10 to hit, 15-foot reach, single target, 3d6 slashing damage plus 2d8 necrotic damage. If the target's a creature, it must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, or its speed is halved, disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the end of its next turn. Spellcasting with a save DC of 18. At will, alter self, darkness, invisibility on itself only, mage hand, and prestidigitation. Twice per day, detect thoughts, dimension door, and a very dangerous one in suggestion. And once per day, banishment, contact other plane as an action, and mind blank. As a bonus action, she can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space. And here's her reactions. Fell counterspell 3 times a day. Shemeshka utters a magical word to interrupt a creature she can see that is casting a spell. If the spell is 5th level or lower, it fails and has no effect. If the spell is 6th level or higher, Shemeshka makes an intelligence check. DC 10 plus the spell's level, just like a regular counterspell.
Mm-hmm.
On a success, the spell fails and has no effect. Whatever the spell's level, the caster gains the poisoned condition until the end of its next turn.
That's nasty.
Take that, sorcerer mains. Get wrecked by the What's this freaking Shemeshka? I have found the answer to wizards, sorcerers, and warlocks.
You keep hating on casters, and we're gonna lose follower.
Nah. I doubt that. No, dude. Oh wow. What did we rate the other one? Because I think did we give it a 10? I think we did. Because
It
I'm
was either
sorry,
9 or 10. I can't remember.
this is a 10 too. We're facing a new problem in which we're not going to be able to do a top 10 list anymore. We're going to have to do a top 5 list because none of these are going to suck anymore.
We're just gonna do a 10 list. Number 10.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to do it 1 through 5 from now on because nothing's horrible. I mean, even the Agent Sea Serpent isn't a 4; it's a 5.
Yeah, but it's I kind of like hating on certain people.
What?
Having the whole 10 list, I kind of like hating on certain people.
Oh, you're just a Debbie Downer.
There's a reason my Xbox Live gamer tag is what it is. Get on everybody's nerves at one point or the other.
Yeah, I'm sorry that there are so many 10s on the list, but
This is just a great list.
The Shemeshka is a 10. I had a feeling that the CR14 list was going to be an absolute banger.
Even
with
some of the stuff
creatures.
that's not on the list are really cool.
Yeah, I mean, for the stuff that we didn't mention, just to like go over some stuff that I know are cool. There's the adult black, copper, emerald, and topaz dragons.
Mm-hmm.
There is the Archon of the Triumvirate, the Beholder in its lair.
Mm-hmm.
So technically it's CR13, but you know,
The Cadaver Collector.
that's cool. The Drow Inquisitor. I usually don't like putting humanoids on this because I want to save it for the big scary monsters.
Yeah.
The Elder Brain is a CR14.
And it's another classic.
It's another classic. It's just realistically compared to the rest of this, it's kind of overall. I mean, it's great, don't get me wrong, but some of this stuff is just a little bit cooler to me. There are some, and there's a Juvenile Kraken, Ice Devil, Sea Fury, which is a Fae. There are some awesome creatures on the CR14 list.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised you didn't put the Sea Fury on here.
Well, I was looking at it, and then I saw the Wraithroot Tree. Because the Wraithroot Tree is an AC of 16 with 270 health, or you can take the max of 20d12 plus 140 for a max health of 380.
Mm-hmm.
30-foot movement speed. Perception of +8, vulnerable to fire, resistant to bludgeoning and piercing, immune to charmed, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, and stunned. Passive perception of 18. Has false appearance, and it has something new, Wraith Shift. On its turn, the Wraithroot Tree can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. It doesn't provoke opportunity attacks while moving and must finish its movement in a space unoccupied by a large or larger object of creatures. Any medium or smaller creature in the tree's space when it finishes moving is pushed to the nearest unoccupied space of the creature's choice. Medium or smaller objects in the creature's space are pushed to the nearest unoccupied space of the tree's choice. With its multi-attack, it makes 2 slam attacks, plus 11 to hit, 10-foot reach, 3d6 plus 6 bludgeoning damage. Or it can throw a rock 60 to 180 feet with a plus 11 to hit, dealing 4d10 plus 6 bludgeoning damage.
I hate rock throws.
And that's not it.
Yeah.
It also has Wraith Storm. On a recharge of 5 to 6, the Wraithroot Tree pulls life energy from the area around it, leaving creatures temporarily frail. Each creature that is not a construct or undead within 30 feet of the tree must succeed on a DC 16 Constitution saving throw or have its speed halved and gain vulnerability to bludgeoning damage until the end of the tree's next turn, in which it launches both slam attacks or throws a rock, dealing double 4d10 plus 6.
Yeah.
That's another 8.
Yes. definitely.
And that was a great way to wrap up the list. Because this was a pretty long one. It was a pretty long one. There's no way to, we can't say that it wasn't. But there are some seriously cool creatures on the CR14 list, and we
Yes.
missed some because we just couldn't fit them in. We're already at a little over an hour and a half of runtime.
Yeah.
This list is amazing. And
There's
honestly,
not a lot on the 14 list, but all of them are like 99.9% of them are cool.
oh, yeah. And I have a feeling we're going to be in a similar situation on the next CR list.
Probably.
Because we are being joined by Potato Candy Network for CR15, and they have built a list for both the monsters and celebrities.
Ooh.
We're bringing them on and giving them full charge.
Sure, that's
So,
a good idea.
It's going to be great. Let's
It
be
is
honest.
gonna be- it is
It'll
gonna be
probably
good.
there's a good possibility it'll be a 2-hour episode. Because all four of us getting in here and losing our minds over certain things, it's going to be great.
Yes. Yes.
Like I almost wish we had went over the magma land shark with them. But keep in mind, the next CR list that you hear from us after this one will be with Potato Candy Network. Casey and Marie are absolutely fantastic people, and we consider them to be good friends. Head over to potatocandynetwork.com, search them up on Spotify on both Blank Scenario and Dreadful Tales, and give them a listen, a follow, because they do some great things.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, keep rolling high, and we'll see you in the next one.